Alien contact films are one of the most recognizable and iconic forms of movies in pop culture. Through the years, interpretations of humanity's interaction with aliens has varied greatly. Today, I'll be comparing and contrasting the different themes, ideas, and representations present in two very recent films about our first contact with another kind: Arrival and Asteroid City. Arrival, directed by Denis Villeneuve in 2016, makes a very grand interpretation, introducing the heptapods and humanity's attempts to communicate when right in front of two beings who speak to each other in ways far from our thousands of languages. Asteroid City, directed by Wes Anderson in 2023, is a newer alien movie, tackling complex themes of grief and making sense out of the unknown, the alien being the main turning point of that story. Both movies share many similarities through their unique representation, like their different conflicts and resolutions, their representation of an alien, and what the bizarre creatures of these respective films symbolize. In Arrival, our main story conflict starts out quite simple. When Luis and the rest of the team climb, or walk, up the walls of the Chicago Bean and meet the two aliens, it's their job to try and communicate with them and try to figure out what they want. This is a hypothetical approach to how we humans could potentially try to develop a way to connect with aliens. From our distinguished throat movements, vowels, and consonants to our writing, composed of letters, words, and grammatical order, we have to venture to teach these two faceless creatures who communicate through low growls and vibrations and writing in a circle. Eventually, treating the four-dimensional transcendence of time like toddlers gets boring, and we try to learn to communicate like them, which allows Louise to see and interact with both her future and past, allowing her to stop China and Pakistan from trying to fight war with the Type 2 civilization. The overall idea of this conflict is trying to speak to someone beyond our comprehension, and if or how humanity would be able to, as a whole, tackle this issue. Like Ian says, we don't have a single leader we could bring them to. This conflict largely contrasts that brought by Asteroid City, which is a heavily interpretable conglomerate of issues. Using the alien, Wes Anderson puts a varied group of many differently cultured characters in front of an anomaly and sees what each person does to deal with it. Ultimately, this dilemma plays a small part in the conflict and message of the movie. We see Augie and Midge exploring human connection, tackling themes of loneliness and grief. Overall, the conflict is dealing with the chaos and uncertainty of life and its losses, and finding out what's missing from it. The actors of the play are just as confused as we, the viewers, are, which we could see from the get-go when Augie's actor asked what the point of the quickie griddle was. With all these clashing issues and problems, the alien only serves as a catalyst to the characters in the play, who now are used to show humanity's different reaction to the unknown. Following the alien's arrival, we see many different ones. The brainiacs try to communicate with it, the teacher tries to ignore it, while the students get imaginative about it. The government quarantines the area, which soon is used for profit by entertainers. There's so many layers to the conflict in Asteroid City, watching it once fails to capture the entirety of it. Similarly to Arrival, which contains a plot twist that changes the entire course of what everything prior we thought was hinting to one thing was actually meaning another thing. Asteroid City's chaos seems like a class of different themes and messages, but the chaos itself is also a theme. We see them say in the movie that it doesn't help to try and deal with chaos from an intellectual standpoint, rather than viewing it as a human and just feeling the vibe. You'll not learn anything until you let yourself feel it, or as they say,
you can't wake up if you don't fall asleep.
Before moving on, I want to mention one of the coolest details I saw pointed out while researching this and introducing the theme of something missing. Wes Anderson presents a roadrunner, a common bird in this arid climate, which is most notably familiarized from Looney Tunes, accompanied by a malicious coyote. However, the coyote, which we often associate with roadrunners, was killed by a train.
We saw a coyote get run over by a 14-wheeler and left them flat as a pancake.
Another factor both movies differ, for the most part, is the representation of an alien. Arrival tries to separate itself from the common idea of an alien as much as possible, showing us this six-legged creature that looks like a single-celled organism we'd find at the bottom of the Marianas Trench. Asteroid City, in contrast, plays within the common idea of an alien's physical appearance. Here we have a humanoid, gray-skinned, large-eyed creature. I believe this was done simply because learning more about the alien wasn't really important, so as a result we have a friendly, Enderman-like Moon Man. It is somewhat interesting that both interpretations involve a gray creature rather than a bright blue or green spectacle. Likely, this was probably shared by both creators to make it so the aliens are weird-looking, but still taken a bit seriously. Furthermore, we get to talk about a factor that played a significant role in how these movies are seen within the first encounter genre. What do the aliens represent? In Arrival's case, the aliens are used to represent an interconnected state between the past, present, and future. This is explored throughout the movie as Luis's acquisition of their language soon makes her interconnected through time because of this weapon she has. This is a very interesting way to bring about an alien, because if civilization managed to travel all the way to Earth from places light years away, their way of living and viewing concepts like time and space would likely be incomprehensible to people like us, which is expressed very well in this movie. In Asteroid City, the alien is explored much less and therefore serves as much more of a simple symbol, the unknown. As I've mentioned before, the alien's arrival serves as an extremely unexpected and inconclusive encounter with an unknown being, which the play follows the events driven by others' reaction to such a phenomenon. Similarly, Arrival's aliens can also be argued to symbolize the unknown, representing how odd talking to intelligent life we know nothing about would be, and how we could even explore and learn about such a complex organism. Honestly, aliens in most films are a representation of the unknown, each one being a different director's interpretation of how people would think or act about something so incredible our minds could barely handle the curiosity of it. In many ways, Asteroid City and Arrival are two vastly different representations of an alien movie, tackling largely varied themes in very different ways. Arrival strives for a conclusion with new intelligent life, and Asteroid City is learning how to deal with the lack thereof. Both movies are very interesting and unique in their presentation, and anyone with an interest in alien movies and expanding their catalog of them should definitely watch both of these. After watching them a first time, however, I advise that for both movies, you may have to watch them a second time to fully encapsulate the plots and ideas.